Hello and welcome again to the Dave Bristol Show. I'm DB, and on this episode I'm going to tell you why September 1st of 2018 is a day that's going to go down in my personal history. Coming up next on the Dave Bristol Show. Thanks for coming back to the Dave Bristol Show. Again, I'm DB, and as I teased earlier, September 1st of 2018 is going to be a day that's going to go down in my personal history as one of the best ever. And to fill you in completely, I'm going to have to go way, way back to before DB was born. So this will be BDB. So in the year 1965, BDB, AD, my biological mother met and conceived me with my biological father, who I only knew his name. That's all my mother remembered was the name he gave her when they met. Now, I have always held a bit of a bittersweet, I guess is the best way to put it, opinion of my biological father, because my mother was 14 years old when they hooked up. So yeah, that's a little, even in 1965, that's a little, pedophilic, I guess is the best way to put it. But he's dead now, so I'm not going to speak too ill of him. Everybody knows he and apparently the rest of the family knew exactly what kind of tastes he enjoyed. So that's where it started. 1965, I was conceived. I was born in 1966 at Camp Pendleton Marine Base, because my mother's father, my biological grandfather, was a Marine and was stationed there. So I was born at the Naval Hospital, Camp Pendleton Marine Base. A year before that, one of my now biological half-sisters was born. Her name is Yvette. And then 14 years after I was born, my other biological half-sister, her name is Beth Ann, she was born. So what does that have to do with anything? Well, you'll see as we get along. So fast forward to age 16, I had reconnected with my biological mother. We had worked through some issues that I had with my upbringing, if you could call it an upbringing. So we kind of worked through those. My parents, I call my adoptive parents my parents. You might remember from episode 1 how I explained how I refer to them. So my parents, I don't think they were very happy when I, at age 16, reconnected with my biological mother, which is understandable. I mean, change is tough. Plus, they had invested so much emotion into raising me from the age of 8 to 16. I was adopted by them at age 8. So, and I, of course, didn't realize the effect that my actions were going to have on them. And we've talked through that too, so everything is cool there. Don't worry, dear viewer. So, at age 16, I reconnected with my biological mother, and we had, over the years had worked through some things. Fast forward now, a long time to probably a year and a half or 2 years ago, maybe. Beth Ann will know better than I, and maybe I can get her on at a little later episode to Skype her point of view or something. So fast forward, I did this Ancestry DNA thing. $99, spit in a tube, send it off. They send you back a results sheet, and you can get online and see it as well. Now, this is not an advertisement for the Ancestry DNA thing. It's just the one that I use. There are others out there, 23andMe, I forget what. So here was my motivation behind trying to find out what I was, basically, as far as my genetic makeup. So I've been called everything throughout my life, from Iranian to Israeli to Samoan, et cetera, et cetera. I think I covered that on the last episode. So people were calling me all these different things, and I knew that I was probably Mexican. And then my biological mother said that we had Blackfoot Indian on our side, on her side of the family as well. So not that I'm trying to get any Native American benefits or anything like that. It's just, I just kind of wanted to know who I was. So I did this Ancestry DNA thing, and it came back and it showed that, I had these matches. One that was really, really close, possible sibling. And I had never heard of her before. And that was Beth Ann. So Beth Ann will have to correct me on this if I'm incorrect, and I apologize if I'm incorrect. The short-term memory, I guess. The note came up that said you have a match, potential sibling, or first cousin. Okay, they couldn't really narrow it down that much. So I think I sent a note to her. I sent a note to some other folks. I think I sent a note to her, or she might have actually sent a note to me. I don't remember. Either way, suffice it to say, we got in contact with each other, and it was like, oh my God, I've got a half sister somewhere. We had questions back and forth. We had a lot of conversations via text and phone. Come to find out that my biological father, her biological father, she's not adopted. She's that was her father. Was a twin. So there is another one of him out there, basically. Well, not really of him, but he's got a twin brother out there. Well, my biological father has since passed. He's dead now. I think I mentioned that. So I have no way of having a conversation with him, which is okay. I mean, I'm a live and let live kind of person, but I would have liked to have been able to at least have a conversation and find out what his point of view on this was, or even if he remembered my mother, because apparently it was a very short-term relationship, we'll say, with air quotes, those. So, needless to say, we chatted back and forth and etc. Well, my last name is Bristol. Come to find out that Beth Ann's, now I'm sorry Beth Ann if you're watching this and I butcher this story, I apologize so much. Beth Ann's in-laws at some previous time in her life were also Bristols, and they have direct relations to my Bristols. Oh, okay. So she's got in-laws that are directly related by name and blood and everything else, the family tree, to my parents and their relatives. Okay. I mean, that just blew our minds. We were just both completely amazed by that. But it doesn't end there. There was yet another half-sister / first cousin indicated by Ancestry DNA. Beth Ann got in touch with her, that's Yvette, and they talked back and forth. Beth Ann told me, hey, we have another half-sister. Like, oh my God, another one, oh my goodness. Well, I, in my very young days, we're gonna have to back up now, go back in time to when I was in elementary school, okay? Elementary school, where I met the first love of my life, little Susie. She's probably watching this too. Hello, Susie. I think she goes by Sue now, but I always know her as Susie. So, elementary school, she was my girlfriend, okay? And I met her grandparents. They came to pick her up from school one day. Well, I used to walk to and from school. And when I met them, they took kind of they had feelings for me because, well, a couple of things. My name is David, and they had a son named David who had been murdered on the side of the road by some jealous redneck whose girlfriend or wife or whatever had cheated on him with a Mexican on a motorcycle. That's the only description he had. Some Mexican on a motorcycle banged his girlfriend or his wife, so he went driving around, saw David on the side of the road, motorcycle parked, helping somebody change a flat tire on the side of the road. He hops out of his truck with the rifle and shoots him in the head, kills him dead. All right? I'd like to know who that son of a bitch is, I'll tell you what. Anyway, so they had kind of a feeling towards me because my name was David. He had died fairly recently at that time, I believe. So the wound was still fairly fresh. So they said, they had asked me if they could give me a ride home. Well, that wasn't going to work because I had been told never take rides with strangers. And so I walked home, started walking home, and they, must have been a couple of miles an hour, followed me on the street all the way home, met Dixie, my biological mother, and offered to give me rides to and from school. So that's how I met the Garcias. The Garcias were my quote-unquote godparents. And I stayed with them for a while, and they had a couple of daughters. The one that I'm going to talk about right now, her name is Kathy. Kathy was my aunt. I still don't know how to, I'd say aunt. So Kathy was my aunt, and Susie's aunt as well, but Susie's aunt by blood. So we had a relationship as far as, they welcomed me into the family and took care of me and really built a nice place for me to exist at the time. And it was awesome. I have nothing but good feelings for them. They've passed now. Grandma and Grandpa Garcia have passed now. Kathy is still around. We still talk. She's very artistic and creative. And she worked at a power company in the Houston area for years and years and years, 20-something years, I think, and until she retired. Well, one of the people that she worked with for all those years and years and years was Yvette, my newly discovered half-sister. Okay, again, I mean, the interconnectedness of all of these different families and all of these different people, it just blows my mind. It's so hard for me to fathom when I heard this and found this out. I mean, how close and how small the world actually is. It just amazes me. So I had the honor and privilege of meeting Beth Ann and her husband Jason, and Yvette and her husband Saturday, September 1st, here in Austin. They traveled here from their homes, their home states, here to Austin. We all got together and had some breakfast. I was a bit overwhelmed, which is hard for me to be overwhelmed by anything, but I suppose I don't feel like I acquitted myself very well as far as being as engaging as I would like to be normally when I meet people. But I was just, the emotions were just so powerful. The situation was still so very surreal. It took me, over a week before I could actually make this video because I've just been, it's just been such a weird emotional ride, as to the relationships of my new siblings, my new family. It's not. It's so hard. It's so hard to even right now vocalize what the feelings were and what I've gone through this past week and trying to come to grips with this whole situation. They're great people. They're so fantastic, very nice. And one thing I want to point out too is, not once in the time that in the conversations that we had over the few hours we spent on Saturday morning, did politics come into the conversation. Nobody was like, well, who did you vote for? In an effort to find out whether anybody was a good person or not. None of that happened. And that's what one of the things that really struck me about the whole situation. It was all a information sharing, networking type of situation. There was no judgment from my side. I didn't perceive any judgment from anybody else. I've got earrings and ugly ties. Oh, I forgot to point out. Look at that. Look at that ugly tie. Oh my God. Amber, you'll probably like that one since it's got purple in it. But anyway, back to the topic. So when I meet somebody, and obviously when my half sisters and their I'm just going to call them sisters. When my sisters and their husbands met me, there was no pre-qualification as to who or what you believe in, or who or what you support. It was all just, let's get to know each other, let's have a conversation over a meal, and let's just kind of reconnect. And that's what it was. It was really fantastic. I still, to this day, whenever I tell this story to somebody, and I've told it to many people in the last week, because it's just been amazing to me still, I still get goosebumps. I got goosebumps right now. Just thinking about this whole situation and how close but yet so far unknown people in your life can be. So anyway, that's all I wanted to put out for this episode. Don't forget to join me on our next episode. Don't forget Patreon. The link is down below. I'm trying to keep this show ad-free. None of the businesses or products that I talk about right now are providing any compensation for me to talk about them. So support me on Patreon if you can. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. As soon as I get 1,000 likes or subscriptions, I forget what it is. I should know. I'll know next time. On YouTube, or 100. I think it's 100 actually. I'll know better next time. But once I get 100 people who subscribe to the channel, the Dave Bristol Show channel on YouTube, I'll be able to have a actual custom web address, URL, that I can use to link to YouTube. Don't forget to join and like on Facebook. As soon as I get 100 people who like the Facebook page at the Dave Bristol Show, I will do a giveaway, and it's going to be something nice. Okay, so don't forget to do that. Now, right now, I would like to talk about Maverick Horseback Riding down in Lockhart, Texas. Joan Marie McCoy is the proprietor down there. It is a destination. If you like horseback riding or want to learn horseback riding, get back to nature. She's got beautiful land down there, awesome horses. She's improving the property on a regular basis. So make sure you go to the link below and tell Joan Marie down there at Maverick Horseback Riding that you heard about her place on the Dave Bristol Show. She speaks Spanish too, so if you habla español, unlike me, yo hablo muy poquito español. Go ahead and give her a call. It's an amazing piece of land. Joan Marie is an amazing person. She really cares about the horses. She's an accomplished instructor and rider herself. She'll make sure that you have just the best time. It's great to go out there where there's so little light pollution from the big city and look at the stars, see the comets and the asteroids, comets, whatever come through. It's just amazing. So her contact and the contact information for Maverick Horseback Riding is down below. Call and go visit. Anyway, join me again next episode on the Dave Bristol Show. I'm DB saying peace.